From the digiMAX studios in Metamora, Illinois, it's time for the Danny Grieves Show, brought to you by the Germantown Grill. Here's Metamora Redbird head basketball coach Danny Grieves and host Scott Kerker.
Well, Coach, season's gotten started. It's Tournament of Champions in Washington. Great tournament.
Yes.
And I thought, you went over to Washington and played four, I thought, really, really good games. Started off the tournament with a game against Yorkville Christian.
Yeah.
A very good team last year. Jordan Shute, the Duke recruit, no longer there. He's playing in Durham, North Carolina.
They lost quite a bit.
Yeah, that's that one. They lost a couple other players
Yeah.
too, but they still had one other. Was it Douglas? A very good player.
Had 19 and a half.
Yeah, he was a load. You kind of shut him down the second half. I believe you put Drew Tucker on him.
Drew has a way with guys.
Yeah, he kind of has a little knack for that. But he did, I thought, an outstanding job. And you kind of wore him out. I thought in the fourth quarter he was really gassed.
I thought we were in a little bit better shape than they were.
Yeah, I thought so too. I thought that was a very good game for you guys to get out,
Get our feet underneath us.
establish yourselves a little bit, and got a big win, 87-41. Big game. You had a lot of players who stepped up.
Right.
You expect your big scorers, the Tyson Swanson, Ethan Kaiser, Tyler Mason, those guys to get their points, and they did.
Right.
And then you got a lot of contributions from other guys, from Luke Hopp, from Drew Tucker. You got contributions from everybody else.
Even Ashton Grieves.
Yeah, your grandson came in, hit some nice shots. And that was, I thought, a very good game for you guys to start off your season with. A good team.
First games are a game of mistakes. Mm-hmm. And so it was nice to have a game to where you can make a couple and they might not capitalize on it, to where it would have the decision-making process of the game. And we made a few, but we looked really good at times. We were in better shape. I think our kids were just more skilled also.
And the other thing, too, is, and you talk to people around town that, watch the games, either the Clutch broadcast of it or went to the games, and even the game that we played Saturday. The thing they've noticed is, wow, that basketball team, they found the weight room this offseason.
Yeah. Well, I told them after the loss last year in the championship game, we just got to get stronger. And they've taken that to heart. And proof's in the pudding. You take a look at them, they're pretty strong.
Yeah, it's definite. Every kid looks like they've spent some time in the weight room.
It is nice, though, to have, juniors and seniors instead of sophomores and juniors.
Yes, it is.
And that testosterone kicks in at that age. And, but if you don't lift, that doesn't come along with it. And then, take care of their bodies. But you could tell we haven't missed many lift days.
No, not at all. And that's going to pay off down the road. But that tournament, a very, very good tournament for a team like Metamora. I thought, you come in with high expectations, and right off the bat, you get a game against Yorkville Christian, which you took care of business.
Right.
And then they put you right in against the Wolves, just like you wanted.
I tell you what, I saw some of the best teams that we've ever seen in the 12 years I've been here.
Yeah.
And that second game was probably the best team I've seen in 12 years.
Against Florida Winter Haven.
Right.
A very, very good team. They beat you 72-64, 8-point game. The rest of the tournament, every game they played was 25 points or better.
We gave them the best game.
By far.
We had a 7-point lead on them. Had an opportunity to maybe do some things, but they were well drilled and well coached.
Yes.
And we just kind of ran out of gas, I think, down the stretch.
And they capitalized on some things.
They did.
And they had a couple of mismatches. They had a guard with 6'4", 240.
It didn't look real special, but the kid was so efficient in what he did.
Fundamental.
Could go right, go left, could shoot the three, mid-range game. Did a nice job going to the basket inside.
Very well coached, and they took advantage of every mistake, and you're going to have those early in the year. I thought that's the best team we've seen Metamora play since we've been doing Redbird Replay.
It's the best team we've played, in my opinion, and Justin's opinion. And we were right there, but they're a little bit farther along. They've played a couple more games, and they were more polished than we were. I'd like to see them in another spot in the season.
Yeah, for sure. I just thought it was a wonderful game to watch. I would have loved to have seen Metamore win it, but man, it was just good, pure basketball.
I know that when you play a quality team like that, and get challenged, you really like to see, how good you can be. And I think that team right there, they're picked to win 6A in the state of Florida. I think they could win 6A in any state. I think that's
so
how
too.
good they are.
Yeah, I thought they were very good.
The kid going to Georgia, the big boy, really put us on it at times. He distracts you inside by blocking shots. You have to change shots. Their guard play was really good, and they were highly organized.
Very organized, and they so fundamentally sound.
Right.
And, a lot of times, that's where I think you guys beat teams that maybe are a little bit better than you is because you're so much better fundamentally. But they kind of match that with you a little bit.
Right. And if you give us 2 or 3 or 4 days to prepare for a team, we're going to take away what you do best.
Right.
In a 24-hour turnaround, you don't have that.
Not in a tournament.
You can work on it, but it's not the same.
No. But what a great opportunity to play a great team like that. I just can't imagine you guys playing somebody better than Winter Haven.
It had end of the season playoff feel.
Yes.
As far as packed house, really good competition, and everything involved.
Yeah. And then you turned around and you played Booker T. Washington out of, I believe, Houston, Texas. And what a ball game that was. It didn't get started at, 10 after 10?
It was late.
It was pretty late. And, man, what an effort that game.
Well, they're picked to win the 7A state championship in Texas.
Yeah.
And there's a reason why. They're very athletic. Their guards and some of the athleticism they use to get open and take shots and push the ball, they were really good.
I thought you played really good defense. And some of the shots they made, I was like, what more can you do?
But that's their style.
Yeah.
And late in the game, when they don't make them as easy, they do an excellent job of rebounding them. I thought we did a nice job of not giving them second and third shots.
I believe they had an 11-point lead late in the third quarter, if I was not mistaken. And you guys fought back, and with about 2.5 minutes to go in the ball game, you guys took the lead that you never gave back up. And I thought would you end up winning 76-73?
Right.
And man, what a ball game! It was a nice win against a really quality opponent.
That's a team that could go anywhere in the country and beat their team's best. So I was pleased with their effort. I thought we grew up a lot in that game. It was nice to watch.
The thing that I thought was so nice is in both of those games, and really every game you've played so far, is the basketball IQ has been so high. I thought last year with Zach Schroeder, but this year
for being this early in the season, you're right. But we made a tremendous amount of mistakes. So, the positive side of that is, some of the things where, we couldn't do much in game 2 or game 4 with Joliet West, very fixable mistakes. Mm-hmm. And so that's the positive side about it. But when you play that good of a quality of a team, man, they'll embarrass you if you make a mistake, if you don't watch out. And that's exactly what happens sometimes.
They forced you to be good.
Yeah.
And I thought that's invaluable when you're playing, especially this early in the season.
Right.
Because you can afford a loss this year against these quality opponents. You don't like them.
That's what they say, but
I know. You don't like them. But, man, alive. When you stop and think that, and there was nothing against Ottawa because I loved going to Ottawa. Greatest.
Right. Sophomore tournament. Food was excellent.
Exactly. Great people.
But we kind of grew out of it.
Grew big time.
Kind of like the Macomb tournament down at
Same deal. Same deal.
Yeah.
You grew out of it, and now you're playing in arguably the best Thanksgiving beginning of the season tournament, maybe in the Midwest.
I would say that.
And you're 8 miles away, and I thought that was fantastic. And then your fourth game was against Joliet West, another 4A school. Mm-hmm. And the problem with that was
on some polls who picked number 1 in 4A.
Yes, with Moline I think being number 2.
Yes,
I think some polls had them flip flopped.
Right.
What impressed me though is you guys came out and you played on Friday night, and you played. The game got over with what, about 11:15, 11:20?
We got back to school at 12:15.
Right. And then you turned around and played the next Saturday afternoon, less than 24 hours later. It kind of showed in the second half, fourth quarter maybe.
I'll tell you what, that game the night before took a lot out of us.
Oh.
Reminded me a little bit of the Simeon game, and then you got to play the next night the championship game.
Right,
you know,
right.
It took a little bit out. No excuses, just it'd be nice to get them to where it wasn't back-to-back.
Right. Again, though, you played against a really good basketball team. Their star player, was it Ferris? Fierce. Going to Michigan State,
And his little brother's pretty good, too.
Yeah, little brother.
He's going to Michigan State for a reason. He's a good player.
Yeah, really good player. They
Kinda
don't make
took
mistakes.
over. Those two took over. I think they had 15 of their 23 fourth quarter points.
Yeah. They were impressive too. Very well coached team, and they forced you to be good. And for the most part, I thought you guys played pretty well.
We at times we were under control. We got a little bit away from what we do when they pressure us some late in the fourth quarter, and they took advantage of any mistake we made on both sides of the ball. So we came away with it with a good lesson learned.
And the thing that I thought was so impressive about all of those games is that you didn't make those whatever mistakes you made in that first game or the second game, you didn't make in the third or the fourth game. There were new mistakes.
Well,
but
you're too kind because you haven't watched the film enough.
Probably not. But you got to be awfully happy.
But we made a lot of really good plays too.
Yes.
You're going, man, that's pretty good. As you watched us maybe finish a backdoor cut or go with a pass 4 touches and a wide open 3. I mean, those are good things.
Right. And these are things that you're going to be able to do and learn from in January and February, because that's when it really counts.
Oh, yeah.
And then you turn around and you get a little bit of time off. You get 7 days off, so you get to kind of lick your wounds, and you finish 2-2 in one of the best tournaments in the Midwest.
Get back in the weight room.
Get back in the weight room. Get back in the gym, and then you get hit with the flu.
Yeah.
You were sick. You had some players sick, and you have a pretty good team in Chicago, Lincoln Park, coming down on Saturday afternoon to play a matinee afternoon game, and you probably just didn't really know what to expect, did you?
Well, we had all their stuff down, but it really hurt. We took a step back when we got kids sick, But what happens with a good program where you got a little bit of depth? It's all about, If I'm on the bench and I get my chance to get out there, opportunity knocks, I better be ready. And so we threw a couple kids in there, and at times they did okay, and sometimes they struggled. But, it's great to get adversity thrown at you.
Oh.
And we started up 16-zip. We didn't need to win by 30 points. We needed to get challenged.
Yes.
We got in foul trouble. We had 3 kids with 2 fouls in the first half. Other kids came in, and they made a run at us in the second half for sure, brought it down to 3. But here's what I tell our kids all the time. You lose your head, you lose the game. Mm-hmm. And with a 3-point margin, they foul us, and then we get a technical foul on them. We hit 4 free throws in a row, and all of a sudden we're up 7. It goes from 1 possession to 3, which is really, quite different in the mind of a high school kid.
I thought your kids came out of the gate yesterday, Saturday afternoon. Man, that's as good a basketball as I've seen Metamore. And I've seen some really good games, but that first quarter was phenomenal.
They tried to make a really good run at us, took the ball hard to the basket, and we did a nice job of denying them, not fouling early. Mm-hmm. And then all of a sudden they had a couple of touch fouls that I didn't agree with, but it was good to see us make a really good run offensively and defensively start the game. And I told them we've had some slow starts in the TOC tournament. We got to do better. And they came out and did that. I was proud of that fact.
Yeah, and then one of the guys that was sick for you was Luke Hopp.
Right.
And I thought you brought him in off the bench. I thought he did a very good job. The one thing I've been very impressed with him this year is he's grown to 6'8" now, 6'7.5", something like that. The thing that I've been impressed is that he takes the ball. He's got a great reverse layup, and I think I've seen him miss maybe 2 all year, and he does, I think, a really good job of getting to that open spot in that low block area.
Yeah.
And, that's...
He's getting better at it for it.
Yeah.
We need that.
Exactly. And, you start bringing guys up to that free throw line, and I thought that really kind of messed up that Lincoln Park defense a little bit. They didn't respond well. Your kids kept finding that open guy underneath. How many point-blank layups did we get?
Quite a few.
It was...
As a matter of fact, when we got away from that a little bit, it was a combination of, we got a couple touch fouls which were terrible. All right? But you have to live with that. All right? And then there was a couple lucky plays they had, and then you throw into where all of a sudden we got a cold streak from the three, and that was the perfect storm for them to make a run back at us. But then we really made some nice free throws in the fourth quarter and stuck to our guns and had some discipline about ourselves and stayed fundamentally sound, and that was the difference in the game to end it.
I thought your starting five and Luke Hopp with, Tyler Mason. We'll talk about him a little bit later, but he had a great tournament over in Washington, and then again on Saturday afternoon.
He's kind of led us in our first 5 games.
Yeah, he had another. He's kind of unassuming. He's 6 foot tall. Yeah. He doesn't look like he'd be able to get up like he does. He had a 2-handed slam dunk over at the Tournament of Champions. Then he had another one Saturday that, he went up easily and dunked it.
Right.
You expect that stuff. I call him your security blanket is Tyson Swanson. When you need a bucket,
right,
Tyson delivers. And he's been phenomenal.
He's really good at that.
Yeah, and whether it be inside, outside, he's just got that knack of finding that open spot in the lane, out in the wing, everywhere.
He's very efficient.
And then, Ethan Kaiser, like you said, he had some foul trouble. Probably wouldn't have killed a fly, but that's the way it is.
He ran away from one to make sure he didn't touch him, and somehow he got the foul. So it's frustrating for him, I'm sure. Especially he had just knocked down a 3 and picked up a foul. He had to come out. He was just getting in the flow of the game. Yes. He just couldn't get on track because of that.
Yeah, and he came out, but you had and then Drew Tucker is Drew Tucker. To me, he's the kind
major competitor.
He's the guy that kind of
both sides of the ball.
Oh,
yeah, you gotta love that.
He's kind of what makes you run a little bit, and he's been fantastic. You need somebody to score, he'll score. You need somebody to shut their best player down, he'll shut him down. You need somebody to make good passes.
He takes that all personal.
He certainly does.
Very personal.
And he's been impressive. I thought Drew Tucker, fantastic kid, fantastic player for you guys. But bringing Hop in, who's probably not at 100% yet.
Right.
I think he had 6 or 8 points Saturday.
I think he had 8.
Yeah, he played pretty well. But there was a couple guys he brought in I thought did a pretty nice job. I thought Caden Hartnett came in and kind of was steady for you guys. Yep. I thought Nick Walker came in. I'd like to see him shoot a little bit more.
Right.
Maybe I'm not right about that, but there's a couple times I thought, you can hit a 3. Hit it.
Briar Kamines came in and gave us good minutes.
Yes, he was the next guy I was going to mention. And, those guys, they could be huge for you down the stretch.
Because who knows when, somebody could get COVID or somebody rolls an ankle, gets in a boot,
Sick, just regular sick, Yeah, you're right. You need some guys to that you can count on. And you put those guys in that second quarter and you let them play, just whatever happens. And
had no choice.
It had no choice, but it kind of looked like you were just going to ride them and let's see where it went.
Well, it's all about opportunity. They work hard in practice. They're with us year round. Some of the football guys are still trying to shake some of the cobwebs out of that.
Yep.
But it's good to see them go in and compete.
Yeah, and I think they're going to be able to give you some quality minutes. Your bench guys.
We're only strong as the weakest link.
Yeah.
And the more we can get them as far as incorporated into having some good minutes in a competitive game, the better they're going to be down the road.
Right. And I think the thing about them is that this could be as deep a team as you've had.
Could be.
And
we'll see. See how it pans out.
I love how your kids, when they started making their run at the end of the game yesterday, when Lincoln Park, you're right, I think they cut it down to 3. Yeah. That's where things could have gotten a little hairy. I mean, they kind of already were. But your kids
where
never.
were you? They already were.
But your kids could have folded.
And did not.
And didn't.
We didn't waver.
No. They were like, okay, enough with this. Let's just go back to business. And Tyler Mason hits 4 free throws in a row, and then I think you hit a layup. It was a 7-point trip because you guys got a 3 out of it, I believe, to put us up 10. Yeah, you went up 10, and from that point on,
could have went either way, and all of a sudden they lost their mind, and
you took advantage of it.
Yeah, I think that was the assistant coach that got the
Yeah, it was. But yeah, I was impressed with your kids' play yesterday. You won by 12. Win was a win.
It wasn't pretty at times, but you know what? You inch along and you try to get better. And I think scheduling that game helped us get better.
Oh, your schedule is, I've looked at your schedule up and down. Your non-conference schedule is a murderer's row.
Yeah.
There's nobody on there you say, yeah, Metamora will skate through that one. There's none of that.
Right.
And you don't want to be peaking yet anyway.
We're far from that.
A typical coach. Yeah. But I love...
Our chemistry's not there. It's not anywhere close. Our defensive ability of, being able to communicate back screens and cross screens and switches and helps and, is at about 60%. So, yeah, there's a whole lot of room for improvement. But what I like is you can fix those kind of things, but if you don't have the effort, that's hard to fix. Our effort's there, and so that I love seeing that our kids. You can't tell if they're up 50, down 50, or tied, and that's the way we play.
Yeah, I heard a story the other day that Drew Tucker came out here the other night to bring Dyson Swanson to do his little video that we have for the starting lineups, and I asked him if any of the teams did any trash talking. He said Booker T did a little bit. Mm-hmm. And at one point, a kid came up to Drew and said, I'm Division, where are you going? I'm Division I, where are you going? And he goes, well, I'm probably not going anywhere, but I'm here tonight. So that's the best
answer.
comeback ever.
Good answer.
And, you guys beat them, and, that Division I.
And they got hurt. They got butt hurt on us beating them. They didn't see that coming at all.
They were not happy.
Even down to the stretch, they just knew that they were going to pull that out, and it didn't happen for them.
Didn't happen.
Yeah.
That was
They don't know much about the Redbirds.
No. You got to come and play a full 4 quarters.
Yeah, you do.
And if you don't, you're going to get beat, and you're going to wonder what happened. And you've got a whole list of teams that have suffered that over the years.
Right.
And some of them are really good teams. Simeon's one of them.
And including a couple teams down in Mississippi. So when we go down there, it'll be glad to see them again.
Yes,
because they still won't get it.
No. There's, and I don't know if Winter Haven I don't think they took you lightly, because I think they played hard against you guys. I just think you guys played awfully well against them, and
they were all business.
That was.
You could tell by the warm-ups. A lot of times you look down there at a team, look at us, and then they kind of smile, and then they kind of goof off. They were all about business from the get-go.
Yeah.
They really were.
Coach, so far into this season, is there anything that's kind of surprised you about this team?
Not really. I mean, I've been with them so long, and I see them every day, and, I was hoping that we would get a little bit more leadership early on. I would love to have 4 captains right now instead of 2. But like I told them after the game, and I saw a couple guys had their head down because they haven't been named captain. I go, I'm not going to give you anything. You're going to earn it, until I see with my own eyes that, you're doing all the little things that leaders do, and little things. Well, what's that? Not just being verbal and vocal on the court, but, being the first one there and the last one to leave, maybe leading all the sprints or at least trying to win, and there's so many things that go along with that. And incorporates that, and I think that the farther along we go the year, I think we'll have more. But right now, Drew Tucker and Mason have been our two guys, and but we need more from everybody else, and including our seniors. So, I'm always on them to do better and get more, and be the best, and it's a grind, and before it's all over, we'll get there. But sometimes you have some growing pains to get there, and that's what we have right now at times. And I think that we saw some of that during our game on Saturday night.
Yeah.
And but we'll get there. We had an excellent practice tonight.
And you got a big game coming up this coming Tuesday against Washington. Playing them early. Normally we don't play them quite this early in the season, but you do.
5 of our first 6 games is on the Washington floor, so it's not like we won't be able to go over there and shoot, and we never get there. So
you've played as many games on their court as they've had.
Yes.
So you're right. That's going to be, and that's always
That was one of the reasons to go over there. We go over there once a year with a packed house, can't hardly hear. The lighting's a little bit different. We never shot it well, and those days are over. You know? But I do like the playoff feel and atmosphere that we get when we get over there.
Yeah, and it's always those are good games when you play your arch rival in a packed house on their floor. That's kind of what that's what you play these games for.
Right.
And it's going to be a fun atmosphere. It's going to be a Donnybrook of a basketball game, and anybody that's a fan, whether you're Washington or Metamore fan, you're going to want to be there or watch our game on TV.
Right.
But that's going to be exciting. We'll take a break now. We'll come back. We'll have the Germantown Grill Player of the Game.
All right.
Central Illinois, you asked for it and we listened. Germantown Grill is growing, adding more dining space and a private gaming area featuring games powered by Gold Rush, the gold standard in video gaming. The game's on at Germantown Grill off Route 116.
Ain't bad there, I tell you.
Welcome back to the Danny Grieves Show. Coach, the Germantown Grill Player of the Week for last week. We didn't name one for the tournament because we played so many games and we didn't cover them.
Right.
But the Germantown Grill Player of the Week for this first game was Tyler Mason. I thought, even if you go back into the tournament a little bit, I thought he's played just outstanding for you guys.
Well, he's led us since June, and I told people, I said, don't be surprised if our best player at times, and maybe as long as he wants to be, is Tyler Mason, because I tell you what, he plays with a tremendous amount of hustle and fire in his belly. He can knock down the three. He can create his own shot. If you see some of his rebounds, all of a sudden everybody's looking for the ball, and you got a guy that just flies out of nowhere that grabs it, and it's a him. I don't think anybody played harder or better than he did over the TOC tournament.
No. I thought too that he played awfully well. In the Tournament of Champions, had a couple. I think that's the thing that surprises people. They see him at the grill, and he's about 6 foot tall.
Right.
And he's had 2 throwdown dunks, two-handed. That comes out of nowhere unless you scout him, and that's going to surprise people. I think,
plays with a lot of energy.
Whew. Yeah, he can really get up there. Yesterday afternoon, I thought he kind of struggled a little bit in the second half, but I think that's the only time I've ever really seen him struggle shooting the basketball.
And what I loved about him, I looked at him and said, hey, you got to let it go, man. You got to have a short memory, all right? Even when he was coming up the court, left side, trying to come across the half-court line and lost it out of bounds under heavy pressure, I go, hey, let it go, and he does, and he comes right back.
Yeah.
And so I love the way he competes.
The thing that I think is really fortunate is you've got 2 guards, he and Drew Tucker, both that play with a little bit of a chip on their shoulder.
Yeah. And got a little bit of a swagger, too.
A little bit. And
they can flat out play. I'll take those 2 guards anywhere in the state, and you can have yours, and I'll be okay.
Yeah, you'll be just fine with those 2 guys. And the game today is dictated by your point guards. They control the tempo. They control everything.
High school and college ball is dictated by guards. And we got, the other day we're getting introduced, and I heard forward on a couple kids. I go, look, we got all guards. Next time our introduction's at home, it's all guards.
It's all guards.
All right? And that's pretty much true.
It is. But Drew and Tyler, they're the ones that do the bulk of your ball handling. and they are fantastic.
They organize the mess.
They, organized chaos. And but Tyler, I think through these first 5 games, man, he is really played. He kind of took over. He missed a lot of your second half of the season last year. He probably missed half the season.
Well, when you're in a boot 3 times, that happens.
And he came back towards the end of the year. I think he played the last 3 regular season games, and then all through your postseason.
Yeah. He had fresh legs.
He had fresh legs, and he was a difference maker.
Yeah.
And he was only a sophomore. And when you got a kid that's
sectional,
fearless,
super sectional, even downstate, he made some plays at times that if we don't need it, if we didn't get one right then, we'd be in big time trouble.
Yes.
And he made it look easy.
And he,
against really good talent.
When he took it right to Simeon, for your first points of the game, you knew things were going to be awfully good.
Right.
And he really hasn't stopped since.
Nope.
And with the kind of kids you got, this could be a very special season. Now you got to keep getting better, and we're pretty sure you will. It's just,
I hope so.
But your the schedule you've got. I keep telling people, we may be better than last year, but we got a target on our backs, and we may not have as good a record.
I mean, even after we have, Washington, we go turn around and play Morton. I mean, which is, to me, obviously the 3 best teams in the conference every year.
Oh yeah.
And then Pekin not too far from there. So,
No.
it's a fun. It's going to be a blast. I tell you, I'm looking forward for challenging our kids on a daily basis, and then taking them out and see what they can do against other folks. And it's a grind. And I told them it's going to be a tougher year this year than it was last year. Mm-hmm. And I told them last year at the beginning of the year, this is going to be the toughest season of your life. And I wasn't lying.
No.
And so, along with the challenges of, everybody's shooting for you, you're not sneaking up on everybody, we're not going to get any calls, the list goes on. I said, but, that's part of it. If you want to be the best, you got to play the best. And so there goes the scheduling.
Yep.
And if you're going to be really good, you got to get challenged. And, what do you do when you have adversity? And if you don't have that adversity, there's no growth.
Right.
And we got to get better every game, or we're not going to get to where we want to be.
No, and that's for sure. You don't get better if you haven't been challenged. And
our margin of error is still real small on probably 60% of our games. I mean, we can't just walk in and say, here, we're Metamora, give us our W. That's not going to happen.
No, because you're going to have the target on your back for every game you guys go out and play. You're not going to sneak up on anybody. Even some of the teams that you didn't play in the Tournament of Champions knew about Metamora.
If they beat us this year, they're going to storm the floor. Yeah. Every team we play. It happened all summer. Mm-hmm. Every loss we had. So that's a good feeling, And you read the AP polls and the Chicago Tribune talking about teams, and they keep mentioning Metamora. So I'm glad for our guys that they finally got to that point, because they've earned it,
Sure.
And it wasn't just last year. It was 11 years in the making, since I've been here.
Yeah. Are you having fun?
Oh, having a blast.
Kids are having fun.
Yeah.
And you got to enjoy the journey, because that's
Right.
that's
It's not about the destination, it's about the journey.
Yep. And last year you knew the kids had fun getting there.
Right.
And then being there was special.
It was good.
And they're enjoying the journey now, because you can see it, how excited the kids are.
And we got a big week this week.
Yes.
We really do.
Well, Coach, we'll let you get going here, but congratulations, and good luck Tuesday night.
Thank you very much. Appreciate you.
Happy holidays, everybody, and thanks for tuning in. Join us next week for another edition of The Danny Grieves Show.